seen too much. I needed to put an end to this situation one way or another. Hello, Babel Guppy! Babel. Gah, Babel. I need to learn to pronounce words better. This is awesome! It's got some of the best writing I've seen in a long time in a video game. There was nothing for me here anymore. No reason to stay in that house. Did I leave, never to return? Yes, I did. Now is the start of my journey onward. Living in this town hadn't been easy. The plant had helped in some way to stay grounded. It kept me in line, gave me something to do, and helped me get away from my past. But when the factory closed, everything changed. I guess that was when I had started sleepwalking, disappearing for hours at a time. I had MRIs and piles of doctor's reports, but nothing seemed to help, not even drinking. But I swear, I had tried to give it up. I know, the sleepwalking never really went away, though. But I know Rachel had tried. I know she tried to be there for me, even when everything was falling apart. This night had unearthed terrible truths, but I knew it was the final act of a long-standing horror I had been living. Waking up in that house tonight was the final cruelty. I wish I had remained unconscious in that room forever. Even the man I had found in that old place was a mystery. Why was he dead? Who had done it to him? Was not something I could even begin to understand. Or why, for that matter, I was in that damn room in the first place. After making it out of those tunnels, I thought those sewers might feel safer. I was wrong. The security tape I had watched showed someone being attacked by what looked like two people. But who was it that was attacked? With Rachel gone, with the implications of what had happened that night were starting to gnaw at me. Someone had clearly taken my wallet, but it wasn't me in those woods or at Norman's. But who could have done so? And why drop my things all over the place? Was someone trying to incriminate me? The tangled mess of that horrible forest was an experience I'd never want to repeat. My whereabouts were still confusing, but I was at least sure it wasn't me who was back at the factory time and time again. I hoped that meant I wasn't responsible for what happened to that poor guard, or the old locker room, for that matter. After all, it had been a long time since I had anything to drink, hadn't it? After the factory, I thought I might find some solace if I could just get to Norman's store. But all I found were more horrors and more questions. Now that I really consider it, that's when I should have seen it coming. Norman was dead. But I had no idea what had happened to him. Finding Rachel's things at his store, though, had been the ultimate shock. I would get no answers now, and that didn't stop my head from reeling with questions. When I had marched through the rain towards home, I desperately clung to the hope that this would end, and I guess, in a way, it did. But how could I have known how hopeless it all was? It started to feel as disoriented as when I sleptwalked. To think of it now, our house used to feel so lively, so warm, but coming into the kitchen it only felt cold, empty tension. Every terrible thought I had up to that point was suddenly a possibility, but nothing could have prepared me. My wife, dead, ruined, discarded. Rachel's death was a terrible mystery to me, one that would haunt me forever, unless I did something about it. For what solace can a man take when in the death of his wife? What comfort can be offered? Rachel had been taken from me, and I might never know why. As I swung open the door and stepped out into the air, I caught the scent of wet grass and fog. Rachel, my beautiful wife. Just the thought of her again, cold and inert, shook me from head to toe. What would I do now? Who could I turn to? It would only be a matter of time before the police got involved, before the neighbors knew. The front lawn was soft and giving beneath my feet, and I couldn't shake the urge that I couldn't stand there, but rather I should run. Well, that was home. They said it should take an hour and a half, and I guess it takes an hour and a half if you explore every room. But I don't think I explored it very thoroughly. And I'm getting the experience that I had killed her. I think my choice. Home is dedicated to my wife Nancy. Watch your back. Yeah, it ended up being a lot shorter than I expected, but it was some excellent writing. It was just concise enough to be everything I had hoped it would be. It was a really solid experience. I'm really glad I had it. You can continue? Let's see what continue does. Oh, okay. So it continues from this room. Alright. Let's change some answers, shall we? Yeah, I'll keep it. I'll keep my photo of my late wife. Maybe I dropped it here. Ooh, let's see what happens if I say no. Laptop had been left on. The only had a tiny bit of power left. On the screen was the old water tower. There'd been a key on the desk. Did I take it? I pocketed the key. He is not talking to anyone in particular. He's mostly just answering questions to himself. I haven't been able to talk to another person this whole game. The drywall was poorly installed. Maybe I could break it. We had way too much junk. Alright. Yes, I took the key. Oh, now I'm really curious. Front door was locked from the inside. I couldn't go out, though I needed to see if Rachel was here. Okay. Okay, can't leave early. You have to break open the basement eventually. Looked in the room, tossed around. Furniture was a mess. Did somebody break in here? There's an old crowbar on the floor. Did I need to take the crowbar? Yes, it is a heavy crowbar. It can break open some plywood boards. We're going to change some answers. Gonna break through the wall with a crowbar. With a heave, I swung the crowbar at the wall. I smashed a hole large enough to move through. So I stepped through the broken wall, my breath caught in the throat. This was it. Was Rachel down here? Was she okay? Don't look. Don't look. They keep telling me not to look. A filthy-looking pile of rags had been dumped in the corner. The stench of them was awful and made my eyes water. I was terrified. I was terrified to even touch the pile, to see what lay within, but I knew I had to. I had come this far. After all the searching, after all I'd seen, when I looked within the rags, did I finally see my Rachel? I think he's remembering, like, he's telling the story. The rags were wet and matted and covered in dirt and grime, but inside that tattered mess was no sign of my beloved wife. Rachel wasn't here. I looked around in confusion, trying to figure out what to do next. If she wasn't there, where else was she? What had I been searching for this entire time? I remembered the look on Rachel's face when I came home. Didn't I? Then, the awful realization hit me in the gut. I had been looking at this the wrong way, hadn't I? This was what you've been trying to tell me all along, isn't it? I couldn't find Rachel there, and I won't find her anywhere else because she was never there at all, was she? Oh. I got tinglies. I stumbled back upstairs. The pain in my leg was just a delight now, and sat down in my bedroom. My mind was spinning. The ache I felt before was near crippling. Finally, I could no longer fight the exhaustion, and as I tried to grab hold of something that would make sense of all this, I drifted off. That did go a very different direction. A very different direction. Whoa! I guess these books were all mine, actually, then. That was my wallet, with its contents intact. Either I dropped that stuff or someone else did. Maybe I was sleepwalking again. Maybe someone stole it from me. Norman's store, that forest, that water tower. Was I in those places? Yes. I didn't see how it could have happened any other way. I must have been the one to lose my wallet and its contents. But what does that mean? Yeah, that was in the shards of the broken mirror could see my face, gaunt, hollow, and sickly, and immensely troubled. What other illusions had I dreamed up? Other truths were waiting to be exposed. Oh my, this might have changed the whole house. This was the keycard I found at the locker at the bottom of the factory locker. Did I even bother to use it? Had someone been going through those lockers and poking around the plant? Still, it didn't quite add up. Was I the one who had been going back to the factory? Yes. It looked that way, didn't it? That locker. I'd given up drinking, but the laptop had finally run out of power. Well, that's the same. This is why they suggested an hour and a half. This is just awesome. Yeah, Home, go you. Can I pay the makers of Home more money? My old office sat on the floor. I used to keep the tax records and other documents in it. I used a digital passcode lock, but I didn't have the code. Maybe I left it somewhere. Oh, I want to know what's in that safe now. I really want to know what's in that safe. Alright. I had an old TV for so long, I don't even know how I could replace it. I'm going to check the laptop. I am playing on the PS4 right now because I don't think my computer could handle playing this and streaming at the same time. I don't have a PC copy of this either. The laptop was dead, but I found some notes and loose paper in the drawer there where I'd found the key. There's a yellow sticky note with an 8-digit code called 4R3U here. Or HERE. Or 3. Did I take it? Yes. The code looked like it might be for the safe, but what kind of phrase is that? Oh, I'm gonna open that safe. I'm gonna see what's in that safe. I have not been this excited to see what was in the safe in a long time. I'm really excited. Are you here? I like that code. That code I found should give me access to the safe. Did I try to open it? There is a poorly framed photo of what looked to be a small headstone in a graveyard. It is tucked peacefully away under a beautiful old maple tree. Underneath it was another sheet of paper. This looked like some kind of MRI printout. It showed the top view of a brain scan. I noticed the bottom of the scan had 2 whitish patches on it. I didn't recognize either image. Finally, at the bottom of the pile was a simple white envelope. In front of it, "Do not open until I tell you." guess this was as good a time as any to see what was inside.